2001, picked up one at Hawthorn in 2004 as well. Has been good for the Swans this year, has played every game, and a good tandem with Darren Jolly. The Swans are the only team in the AFL with 2 ruckmen inside the top 10, and he's become a goal kicker in recent weeks, Darren Jolly, as well, with 15 for the season. And Robert Harvey, well, how about this? The 35-year-old playing in his 18th venue in his career. Paul Salmon with 19 holds the record. Let's get downstairs to Rowan Smith.
Thanks very much, John. Well, just quickly on the conditions, absolutely picture perfect here for football this evening. Very, very warm and a great night for football, boys.
Big occasion from Telstra Stadium. We get underway, and Darren Jolly, looking to win a free kick early, has given it up, and Ricks is the recipient. And St Kilda will look to clear. Montagna getting an early touch and intelligently works it out wide. Good vision from him. And Maguire gets it from Gilbert, drives it long. Good distance with the kick. Here's Fraser Gehrig, who has tortured the Swans in recent years. Goes to work early, and the Saints have kicked one inside 30 seconds.
That is the perfect start for the Saints, and the perfect start for Fraser Gehrig, a man who just registered donuts last week, did not get a touch of the leather. He has sparked a St Kilda charge here in the first 30 seconds of the game. He was the one that kept his feet, read the ball over the back and finished well from an acute angle. I should never ever doubt Gerard Healy. We were talking matchups prior to the game. He said Bolton on Gehrig and Richards on Revolt, and that's the way they have lined up. I bow to the great one.
Thank you, mate. Blake on goods.
Well, Fraser Gehrig has had a tremendous record against the Swans. In the last 5 games between these teams, he's been the leading goal scorer.
Big job for Blake. He's charging in on Adam Goods. Adam Goods had Brad Mellor pick him up last week, and here he is, the big man. He's got a great tank.
Jolly looks up just beyond the wing. O'Loughlin. Now Ryan O'Keefe looking to run onto it. Closely shadowed there by Sam Gilbert.
Now, Gerard, I know you called it. You thought Bolton would pick up Gehrig, and you thought Richards would go to Revolt. Revolt's the one with the big tank. We know Craig Bolton's got the great tank. Why have they swapped them around?
Well, I think that they're probably a bit more concerned about the strength of the G-Train. I think Bolton is more capable of coping in that department, but they're just going to swing them around depending on where they play. They've got Kazitsky now deep, so Bolton's going to take the deepest one. He's on Kazitsky now.
Chance for the Swans. Saints under pressure. Wrestle for the ball, getting down Del Santo in the congestion.
So they are trying to stretch them, Jason. Justin Kazitsky at full forward. He's on Bolton. Ted Richards had pushed out onto Rewald. And the G-Train.
Davis shot out the hand pass to McVeigh, who turns around and gets Sydney back on level terms.
Big start, big response there by the Sydney Swans. It's Luke Brennan picking up the G-Train, but all action at the other end of the ground. And these contested ball situations are probably what is going to determine the win or the loss. McVeigh's actually on Nick Del Santo. They picked each other up in the middle of the ground, and then as soon as they combined, Jared McVeigh charged down to that forward pocket. So they're going to try and keep Nick Del Santo away from the play, and that has worked for them a treat.
McVeigh, a man who missed out on the grand final in 2005. That's his 8th goal of the season. Quick start to the match. Off the ground by Fosdyke. Getting a lot of distance with the kick. Nor Montagna. In a very narrow Telstra Stadium.
Well, we've got some interesting matchups at both ends, and I must admit I had them wrong at both ends because I thought Maguire would get Hall, but Hudgson's gone to Hall, and Maguire on the smaller and leading Michael O'Loughlin.
Another holding free kick has been given away here by Darren Jolly. The Swans give away more free kicks than any other team.
Mind you, neither ruckman knew who was getting that one until it was paid, Case.
A chance for St Kilda to go forward once more. It's Xavier Clark. Now looking into the pocket. Gehrig was wrestled away from it. Good use of the body there by Craig Bolton.
I think if Xavier Clark could have that kick again, he'd like to rewind the clock.
So too Bolton.
Ditto.
As Baker comes across and takes the mark. Montagna drives them forward once more. Milne.
Wow, must have been touched off the boot, wasn't it? Or did he drop it down there?
No, he's calling touched off the boot.
Lively start Clark wrestles himself free from the tackle, drives long, but missing to the near side. It's a minor score.
Sam Gilbert, Jason, massive job on Ryan O'Keefe, All-Australian last year, premiership player and he's superstar of the competition. Big job for a youngster.
It certainly is. I mean, he's going to have to he'll certainly get his tank tested, won't he, on Ryan O'Keefe, because O'Keefe covers an extraordinary amount of ground he presents. He works deep into defence, he pushes forward, he does it all.
Plenty of pressure being applied on the Sydney Swans. Richards has problems. Good tackle from Ricks. Ball in dispute once more. Again, it's Xavier Clark who emerges with it, but he didn't get very far. He's been caught holding the ball, and that Tyde Kennelly charges off for the Swans. In support, Ben Matthews. Looking to the half-forward line for O'Loughlin. Just had too much on the kick.
Too many clanging kicks at the moment for the Swans, John.
And Maguire burst back towards Revolt. Couldn't hold on to the mark. Good use of the body by the undersized Jude Bolton there.
And once again, we're seeing Michael O'Loughlin in recent weeks play a lot further up the field.
Kennelly looking for the lead. Couldn't find Davis. Loose ball. In fact, a free kick has now been awarded to the Swans.
And down in the goal square for Sydney, or just outside, is Jared McVeigh. Nick Del Santo is going man for man with him, and he's spending most of his time
in defence
as a defender.
Now playing out of the goal square. It'll be interesting to see how long Ross Lyon allows that match up to stay.
Well, McVeigh's chopped him up twice now, and here's his second chance at a shot at goal. This isn't working for the Saints, and
expect the man in green to be out there very quickly, Jared.
In fact, I think he's heading that way now, Jason, as you speak.
Nice pass from Tyde Kennelly. Get McVeigh another opportunity. Kicked 2 goals against Carlton a month ago, and that equalled his career best. A little over 6 minutes played. Sydney looking to take the lead for the first time. McVeigh has threaded the needle and done just that.
Couldn't come up with a better start for a player that's playing on one of the danger men for the opposition in Nick Del Santo. To be able to drag him deep into defence and to kick a couple on him is just an outstanding start from Jared McVeigh. That is absolutely ideal. He couldn't have scripted it any better. All of a sudden, he's got one of the danger men for the opposition worried about him as opposed to just chasing the football.
Tick over 7 minutes played. Sydney with back-to-back goals take the lead after Fraser Gehrig had kicked the first inside 30 seconds. Peter Everett onto the ground.
They're trying to make that change with Baker trying to push onto McVeigh.
Montagna to Luke Ball.
Del Santo now pushed over onto O'Loughlin temporarily.
Well, Rewalt had 3 to beat there. They left Milne alone, and he's cannoned one into the post.
In fact, he's pushed over onto Adam Snyder. Make a retraction there. It's Adam Snyder. So all of a sudden, quick movement by the footy by the Swans, and just temporarily at least got control of the matchups.
Kirk with it now for the Sydney Swans. To the wing. Good lead, hard running rewarded there for Ted Richards.
Speaking of hard running, we spoke about Spider Everett earlier pushing forward. That's exactly what he's trying to do. The moment he's up against Jason Graham, he'd be a spot on, he'd be one out there, he'd just kick it straight on his head, he'd mark it every time. He's calling for it.
And so is Luke Brennan, who's pushed deep. He started at fullback on Justin Kosicki, and he's dragged him all the way down the ground.
So very much it's a battle between height, if St Kilda get it in quickly, versus run from defence, which is really what Leo Barry's done for his career.
Every St Kilda player in the Swans half, and they've got numbers back. Ricks takes the mark, plays on quickly for Jason Graham. Hugging the boundary line, lost his footing, now he has problems, needs support, eventually shovels it out. Baker with Montagna running by, needs to be quick, under pressure from McVeigh. Now rushed across the line, that's good pressure from Sydney.
It was also a tough situation handled well by Sam Fisher. He didn't panic, he didn't rush the ball over the boundary line and get pinged for deliberate out of bounds. He just allowed himself to get tackled and swung over the boundary.
Rutchell, a stalemate. Robert Harvey.
She's congested.
And now Milne, deep in the defensive 50. Revolt, the target against Richards, spills it off his chest. Kennelly tracking back toward the boundary line and running out of room.
And boys, just down here, an interesting one. Eamon Buchanan starting on the bench, 32 possessions and 2 goals last week. We all know that the Swans use their bench extensively, so expect him to be on very soon.
Everett read the throw in. Bolton getting into the back of Blake, no whistle forthcoming. Again, a tangle of arms and legs. Kirk on the bottom of it. Good work from Del Santo to work the Saints forward only as far as Adam Goods. Now
Smart
Matthews.
Handball, good. Smart handball, just delayed it, held it.
Again, right on the boundary line and looking for the lead of Luke Ablett, who under pressure, and he's given away a free kick here, Montagna. Almost 9 minutes played in the first term. And Luke Ablett wants to go short to O'Loughlin. And he goes short as well to Fai Malcheski.
Interesting, Jason, at the moment the Saints are locking down on the Swans midfield, so Kirk is able to take Lenny Hayes wherever he wants to go. Del Santo went on to McVeigh, so McVeigh took him where he wanted to go. And the other one, of course, is Montagna with Matthews. I think Matthews is the one doing the tagging there.
And I think Del Santo's now gone onto the ball. Baker went on to McVeigh after he kicked those early couple, but now McVeigh is following Del Santo.
Tackle from Harvey, shutting down McVeigh, and another stalemate.
Two of the great chess players of the free world, Jason, in the coach's box. Boris Batchkid have trouble against these two.
And they know each other pretty well, don't they?
And here's the matchup. Big Cozzy's pushing up the ground. He's leaving his man Luke Brennan, who is staying back. So it's extra men in defence for the Saints.
He's got to go sideways because he's got nothing ahead of him, Cozzy.
Does so for Gary, who waits the kick for Jones.
Interesting, Jason. Cozzy's pushed up the ground into the middle, and immediately Blake, who's playing on Adam Goods, he rushes down into the goal square. So they're trying to destabilise the Swans with the swings and roundabouts theory.
And he's on his own at the moment. If they can win the ball, the Saints, and unfortunately when it gets turned over, it'll end up going straight through Adam Goods.
Well, that's the gamble that they're playing. It's plenty of chess here at the moment.
Bolton in the centre of the ground. And the Swans delivery for Barry Hall wasn't the best.
The string.
Hodgson with the support.
He did not want to bend, and I don't blame him.
Jason Graham told to play on. Low pass. Terrific mark taken here by Kazitsky.
Brennan's got the job on him.
Revolt on the lead again, has multiple defenders with him. Not plenty of it though.
That was a great job.
That's what you call a contested mark, 1 against 2. They're obviously conscious of the ball coming into Revolt, and it was Kennelly leaving his opponent to give the chop out to Richards, but too good, Revolt.
Good space, and here's the...
That's what you've got to do. That gamble you spoke about before, Jared, is worth taking. If Blake goes to the goal square on his own, and there's a stoppage at half back, and Goods just stands on the defensive side of the stoppage, okay, you're rolling the dice. If Goods gets it, it's a possession at half back. If Blake gets it, it's a goal. You've got to take that all day if you're St Kilda.
To cash in on the pressure and to make Goods accountable, this has to go through.
Jason Blake, a goal kicker last week. Can't bring it around enough. It's a minor score.
So it hasn't hurt them. The message is being sent now to Adam Goods. Let's have a look at this. Did not want to bend, did Maxi. He's had a history of a bit of hamstring trouble. And
it's not the ball you need, is it?
It's not, particularly early in the match.
And I think Goods, you get the message very quickly. It's not just about you chasing the ball, Adam. When your man goes to the goal square, you've got to be accountable for him defensively.
Bevan switching play for Goods in the other back pocket.
St Kilda won't mind if they can hold the Swans up and force them to kick long door contest. That's a win for the Saints. Of course, a matchup with Baker on Jolly is not a win for the Saints, is it?
Jolly undecided. Now wants Barry Hall. And he looks up on another congested forward line, so elects to go short. Brings Buchanan into the game. He's going wide and dangerously so. It's not a good kick. Kazitsky knocks it forward, but the Swans have numbers around the ball here and can relieve the pressure. Craig Bolton with a bounce. And again, has Hall leading straight at him, but elects to go longer than that. He's going one out to the goal square where Jolly is operating. Good defensive work there from Ricks. Jolly stays with it though, gets it around the corner, but has pushed it too far.
Good agility for the big fella, but probably would have been better shooting off the hand pass. He did have Jared McVeigh lurking, and that would have been 3 in the first 15 minutes or so if he had have shot the hand pass out to McVeigh.
Well, big congestion in the middle of the ground now, and Robert Harvey is broken wide, hasn't got it, but Max has gone deep, and in doing so he's created the gap for Stevie Baker to drop into. In fact, it's Stephen Mill.
Mill comes across the ground for Hodgson.
You've got to go. You've got a padding in front of you. You're better off just taking off than holding it up.
Revolt the target again.
Loose man in defence for the Swans at the moment in Bevan.
High ball, Goods comes to it. So too Bevan, who escorts it over the line.
Well, Bevan's actually in control of Robert Harvey. So Harvey is running by himself at times. Matthews is picking him up at the moment, allowing Bevan to go deep.
3-man rucking duel with Kazitsky coming in, but Spider Everett gets the ball to Hall. Couldn't take the mark. St Kilda through Montagna, who slipped as he kicked. The pressure looked like a push there into the back of Revolt. Clint Jones picks up the loose ball.
Paid the mark in front of him.
He's paid the mark.
Bevan once again over the top.
In fact, they're going to hand it over now to Luke Brennan.
He's got a good vertical leap. Luke Brennan, man in front, got paid the mark.
Nick Fosdyke with it now. Wants to switch play once more for Bevan, who's one of 8 New South Wales bred players in the Swans team. Weighted kick for Fosdyke. Now he has to retrieve it. Not a lot of motion ahead of him as Ted Richards takes the mark.
Well, one of the midfield matchups, an important one, Lenny Hayes on Brett Kirk.
Yep.
1 handball each. 0-all draw.
Make it 2-1.
Kirk over the top for Fosdyke. Harassed though by Montagna. He goes laterally again. Craig Bolton with a short pass and finds Goods. Being forced into a high possession game at the moment, Sydney. Ben Matthews takes the mark.
Jolly deep, they like him. They'd like to get him in a one-on-one battle if they can. Sam Fisher's his opponent.
Well, coming back with the ball, Ricks needed to do a little better there. Saints with numbers. Blake, relieving kick for Mill. Handball quickly.
Off the interchange, onto a handball. That is
all the way, Clark. He can run all the way to about 40.
Xavier Clark, 35 and closing, but didn't get it cleanly off the boot. It's a minor score.
That is a bad miss. They set it up beautifully. St Kilda pushed numbers up the ground and then ran hard back with the ball, which created a big space between the ball carrier and the forwards that were running back towards goal. He had an open paddock, 40 metres to run into Xavier Clark. He just needed to steady and finish.
Luke Ball onto the ground. And Malcheski also onto the ground for the Swans.
Nice work from Bolton, getting good depth with the kick to find Jolly.
Ball straight over onto Jude Bolton.
And now O'Keefe on the lead. Close attendance there. Sam Gilbert knocks it over the line. The Saints have had 5 scoring shots to 3, but they trail by 3 points here. 7.5 in its left term, number 1.
Ricks versus Spider Everett in the goal square, Jason. I reckon Spider's a better full forward than Ricks is a full back.
Clark couldn't find it. Fosdyke slung as he handballed the ball to Buchanan, who created some space for himself. Hand pass they left a little be desired. Harvey tracks it back, joining in Gilbert. Taken down Schmidt.
In fact, in his early years, Spider Everett played full forward for Victoria. So he is a gun in that position.
They've obviously seen the concern as well. Matt Maguire now comes back onto him, and Ricks goes up onto Jolly in the ruck.
Everett does have a career high of 9 goals in a match against Geelong back in 2000. Now the Saints will clear with Lenny Hayes, captain tonight, driving the ball again for the lead of Revolt. And coming across there, Ted Richards has given away a free kick.
A bit of jumper tugging going on there.
Inboard, Aaron Fiora from 60 unloads. Garrick and Bolton wrestling for position, and a free kick is going.
Fraser Garrick made the most of it in the contest. He actually threw the body back and ensured that the umpire saw what was going on, and he paid holding the arm is what the umpire in charge is signalling against Craig Bolton, and this should be a gimme for Fraser Garrick.
Kicked the first goal of the match inside 30 seconds. Garrick lines up again to put St Kilda back in front.
2 goals apiece and multiple goal kickers for both teams. McVeigh with 2 for the Swans, and now Garrick with 2 for St Kilda. He was not going to let the umpire miss that one, and there's plenty of times that will go unnoticed, but on that occasion he's the beneficiary of the free kick, and he makes the most of it. So after a very, very poor week for Fraser Garrick last week, his confidence certainly pretty high now with 2 goals in the first quarter.
Another big question is what limit the AFL are thinking about putting on the interchange, Jason, but just having a look at Robert Harvey and Lenny Hayes coming from the ground.
Yep.
Got to be careful and not limiting them too much, because they are coming off the ground absolutely spent.
Kazitsky clearing the ball out of the centre. Taken down Jones. A strong tackle from Bevan. Now it's Luke Ball finding a teammate. Lee Fisher driving them forward. Garrick didn't get a kind bounce. Bolton with problems. Excellent tackle from Xavier Clark. Ty Kennelly relieves the pressure with the assistance of Tim Schmidt. To the lead. And finding Adam Schneider.
They are good foot skills, because he was 1 against 2, Schneider. If the ball hit the deck, he was in all sorts of trouble, but Schmidt just backing the skills and hit the target beautifully.
Goods with problems now. After Schmidt. Well weighted pass, finding Darren Jolly.
No looming is the big problem for the Saints. These 2 ruckmen.
Adam Goods just makes it up as he goes. He just runs with the ball, runs into traffic and figures out, he goes, well, when I get there, if I get pressured, I'll jig one way, go another way, give a hand pass out, and we'll make something happen. He just creates on the move.
Well, Darren Jolly has been a goal kicker in his last 4 games. This time he shoots from just outside the 50 and going for distance. The accuracy minimised. It's a minor score.
He's kicked that 55 metres off about 3 steps.
Do they open the gates here at this Olympic Stadium like the Russians did, Jason, when they were throwing the javelins?
Let the breeze come through.
Sam Fisher deep in defence, got it from Jason Graham, went back in that direction. Needed help provided by Luke Ball.
Well, it was an interesting kick, that one, just to maintain possession. Risked losing it in a pretty damaging spot.
Maguire going for distance. Revolt at the back of a big pack isn't going to get a run at this with numbers.
It was excellent work by Ted Richards. He is, at the moment, is probably illegal, but he's getting away with it. Just putting his body in front of Nick Riewoldt, preventing him from getting the run and jump at the footy.
It's gone from one end to the other. Adam Schneider started in the forward line, now playing in the back pocket on Stephen Milne.
Disposal not the best. Bevan goes back to Schneider. Gets around 1, right in the centre square now. Forces a bounce. And brings it out wide. Peter Everett leading the charge there.
You got Jason Graham at one end of the ground. He's getting free. And at the other end, it's Paul Bevan.
Jolly with the tap for Kirk. Davis pushed in the back, goes unwhistled. Kirk taken to the ground by multiple opponents. Will have a bounce.
Adam Goods has had 8 touches for the Swans. He's the #1 man there. And Lee Montagna, he's a ball magnet at the moment. 10.
Sydney go through Buchanan. Indiscriminate though with the hand pass. Sam Gilbert with the loose ball.
Good
into
vision.
the centre. Lee Fisher all alone. Looks for the lead of Milne and hits him on the chest. Now Garrick's on the bolt into the pocket as well. Pass not a good one. Favoured Craig Bolton, who backtracks to reel it in just inside the line with the support of Richards. And into the pocket where they find Tim Smith.
I think you've been kind saying the pass wasn't a good one, Case. It was dreadful. He was 5 metres clear, Fraser Gehrig, and he tried to just chip it without, reducing the margin for error, but unfortunately he chipped it too high and to the wrong side of the contest.
In fact, if you had to pinpoint where St Kilda are letting themselves down, it is that kick into the 50.
Ben Matthews gets it back from Kirk. That's even wider for Nick Fosdyke. Nick Davis. Hand pass set up Craig Bolton. He was equal to the challenge though. And now Paul Bevan looks for and finds Ryan O'Keefe. Turns around quickly. Wasn't a lot on offer. Forced the kick. It's a poor one picked off by Baker. Now Kazitsky looks out for the lead of Jason Blake.
No, just a little bit of confusion there. Barry Hall went the lead, but I think he was looking for a paddock scenario. And he changed his lead when Ryan O'Keefe had already committed to the kick.
Baker inboard for Montagna.
Having a big year.
Revolt out on the lead, got away from Richards. Couldn't reel in the mark though. Xavier Clark dragged that back in. Now again we have a stalemate.
It's a mark that Nick Revolt would normally swallow up, but it's the first time he's actually broken 3 or 4 metres clear from Ted Richards. He was expecting a bit of contact, a bit of impact, and couldn't believe it. When nothing happened, he just dropped a simple mark.
Fiora taking down his opponent. A little over 2 minutes left here in the first term. Saints lead it by 2 points. And Kazitsky going nowhere, under pressure there, and now he's won a free kick for a push in the back.
Well, the way it's all structured, I can't see that we're going to get too much free-flowing footy here tonight, Jason. This is going to be a classic Indian arm wrestle.
And that'll suit Sydney. They don't mind that. And it probably won't perturb Ross Lyon either, because he's used to that sort of game.
Big pack in the goal square, and the mark has been taken by Revolt.
And you cannot believe it, Ted Richards.
Well, it was a case of almost 4 or 5 tools standing side by side. No one had a run and jump, and it was a matter of where the ball was going to land. They all had their arms stretched straight up. Nick Revolt was the one in the right position.
He's played 16 games this year, Revolt, and has been a goal kicker in 14 of them, and we can add to that tally now as St Kilda extend their advantage.
Well, it's a long kick in from Justin Kazitsky. This is just straight classic football. He's just the tallest man there, and he's got
reached over a little, didn't he?
The better reach. And in the end, I think that picture there, Jason, encapsulates the whole challenge tonight. It's a question of whether the talls for St Kilda can beat more convincingly the shorts for the Swans' defence, and probably the reverse up at the other end, although I think the Saints are better staffed.
Revolt's been in great form. All-Australian forward pocket last year, and his 3rd best and fairest for the Saints last season. 27.5 minutes played in the first term. Montagna about to clear again for the Saints. Into the pocket. The G-Train's out strongly. Couldn't mark it. Ty Kennelly controlled it brilliantly at close quarters. Turns around to find Brett Kirk.
Well, he gave him a chance there, the train. He tried to chest mark it, and Bolton too smart, just a little bit too much closing speed, and got his fist in on it.
It was good to see, though, there was a brief show of frustration from Fraser Gehrig after he dropped the mark, like he was berating himself, which is nice to know that he's concerned, he's desperate about it, whereas other days, sometimes you just wonder whether he's switched on. He hasn't paid that mark. That's called play on. Both sets of hands on it, the umpire deemed.
But just going back to the G-Train, his opponent, Craig Bolton, has had 10 possessions. So they are flicking it around a hell of a lot down in defence, this one. So he's getting the numbers up, but they are generating the run from the back quarter. Although
he'd be happy for his opponent to have 15 touches a quarter if he gets his 2 goals a quarter.
Bolton's had 10, Goods has had 8, and I reckon 6 of those have been in the back 50. Brett Kirk, he's getting some numbers now up with 7 possessions, despite being well tagged. They've turned it around on one of the king taggers in the business.
Adam Goods drawing the umpire's attention there, winning a free kick against Jason Blake with less than 10 seconds remaining here until quarter time. Stretching out, McVeigh takes the mark.
Gee, that's been a win. Del Santo's had 1 hand pass for the quarter. McVeigh's got a couple of goals and a handful of possessions.
Seesawing opening term here from Telstra Stadium in Sydney. And St Kilda with an 8-point advantage to lead.
Possession well up in the favour of the Swans at the present time, but strangely, I think a lot of those in the back half the Saints getting more inside their forward 50. So all the indicators are favouring the Saints at the moment.
And the Saints are the best second quarter team in the AFL. They've only lost 5 out of 18 second quarters this season. As Milne rushes out, scoops up the ball, kicks around the corner, looking for a teammate in Jason Blake. Had trouble finding it. Abler got a piece of it. Now it's McVeigh, wrapped up in a tackle by Montagna, and he's holding the ball.
Jason, what would you do about the Del Santo scenario? Would you just hold, given that you're marginally in front on the scoreboard?
Yeah, and because of the quality of player that he is, you give him a bit longer grace than anyone else to fight his way out of it. But at the moment, he's had no impact, and just the one touch. He's got to find some footy against Jared McVeigh.
That's a free kick, surely.
Jude Bolton taken high, an obvious free kick. And he's got Michael O'Loughlin out wide on the wing. Takes the mark. O'Keefe on the lead. Work over the back from Gilbert. Now Lenny Hayes joining in. Back to Maguire.
Nothing wrong with the game Sam Gilbert's playing either. He's kept Ryan O'Keefe to one hand pass and one kick. That is a massive win.
Everett spinning out of trouble with the assistance of Goods, who's taken across the line by Michael Ricks.
And Jared, just on Nick Del Santo, he's actually started forward in this quarter. Ben Matthews is picking him up now.
Ricks and Everett to do battle again.
Yeah, it looks like McVeigh's gone on to Harvey.
Goods needs to be quick, needed to be quicker than that. Shut down by Harvey. Good tackle there from McVeigh as well. Fans wanted a holding the ball decision. Umpire didn't see it that way.
Still going really tall, Jason, in that goal square. Within 4 or 5 metres of the goal square, you've got the Train, Kazitsky and Rewalt.
Well, I think they can stretch them. Luke Brennan giving away a bit of size to Kazitsky. They'll back Revolt against Ted Richards. We see another free kick here in St Kilda's favour, and it is Nick Del Santo.
You'd just bang it in there, wouldn't you?
Well, you'd have to. He's not going to be able to pinpoint a pass. He's got to get it in before now Everett's dropped back. The last thing he wants to do now is kick it long because he's got the ruckman loose back.
8 free kicks to 5 favouring St Kilda, and he's pinpointed Xavier Clark, who was left alone.
What did we just say about not being able to pinpoint a pass there? And Jared McVeigh, who quickly had to try and get back and pressure, how quickly did he turn around and look at his teammates saying, what on earth's going on here? How can you let a bloke stand here in space, 25 or 30 out directly in front?
Well, I think what Ross Lyon will be thrilled is that all his key forwards, they made space. In particular, Kazitsky, he led up the ground. That created the space for Clark.
He's missed twice tonight, Clark, this time from point-blank range, and he's missed again inexplicably.
Well, that's the difference between having a dirty night and making a significant contribution is finishing. He has had some regulation shots for goal, Xavier Clark, and has failed to put scoreboard pressure.
Yeah, that one wasn't good enough. They started this quarter pretty well, St Kilda, and they needed that to just get some reward.
Well, when you have a tight, close struggle like this, it comes down to who uses the football the best, who makes the most of the limited opportunities, and he wouldn't want to miss too many more.
Kennelly restarts, finds Paul Bevan. Good speed from Bevan to shake Stevie Milne. And now driving it long. Good depth with the kick again, and Jude Bolton takes the mark, and he's off and running. Looking for the lead of O'Keefe and hits him on the chest.
Yeah, the foot skills we're talking about. Everett working hard here, but he is ignored.
O'Loughlin one out in the goal square against Matt Maguire.
And now there's about 32 players in the defensive 50.
O'Keefe will kick from just inside the 50. And didn't get enough on it. It's going through for a minor score.
Really interesting kick out, that last one from Sydney. They set up to go left, and Ty Kennelly knew exactly what he was doing. I think it was Ty Kennelly who kicked it out, maybe Paul Bevan. Then they ducked back.
Kennelly, yep.
Kennelly it was.
Gave it to Bevan.
He kicked it over one line on the left, and then he came back and handballed it from the other side on the right-hand side. And he knew exactly what he was doing.
Luke Ball taking his time, now ordered to play on. And finds the lead here of Sam Fisher. Thought about going to Harvey, now looks beyond that. Gehrig with Bolton coming hard. That was Craig Bolton, now it's Jude Bolton. Did well to pick that up at full flight to Craig Bolton. Handball over the top for Brett Kirk. Takes it to the half-forward line. Barry Hall comes out, hasn't seen a lot of it. Good spoil there from Max Hudson.
Well, G-Train's pushed up to become the hit-up player, and Bolton's going with him. I think it may be a closing speed scenario. You saw there that G-Train didn't keep charging. Here's Barry Hall and a good punch away from Maxie Hodgson, but Bolton's got the closing speed on the train.
And wrestle for the ball. Good effort by Luke Ball to eventually win it out. Lenny Hayes gets it off under pressure from Goods. And over the top, Ted Richards has given away a free kick.
Yeah, a little bit too much holding going on there. He's trying to restrict Revold's lead at the footy, and the umpire straight onto it.
Baker going across the half-back line for Hodgson. Plenty happening off the ball as well. Robert Harvey and Ben Matthews involved.
Spider Everett got away with the best hold on Rixie as well. He was streaming down the middle of the ground. He just had him by the jumper and it was stretched about a foot and the umpire didn't see it.
Again, Richards supplies the spoil against Revolt. O'Loughlin.
Pretty smart play there by Ted Richards. He held the arm that was blindsided to the umpire.
Buchanan for Brett Kirk. Richards running past. Drives the ball long. Didn't get it high enough for Barry Hall. And coming across to take the mark, Sam Gilbert.
A little bit frustrated with that kick, Barry, too. He's only had the one kick for the night. Hasn't registered on the scoreboard yet, and he'll certainly be looking for a slightly better service than that last kick into the attacking 50.
Both clubs now struggling to get it out from defence because they're not playing a loose man, and he's run too far.
Too far. Oh, he's run 30.
Looking for Xavier Clark with Ty Kennelly. Nice use of the body, taking a strong mark.
Man on man across the field now.
Craig Bolton inboard for Brett Kirk. Defensive side of centre. Out wide. McVeigh. Nice pass to Michael O'Loughlin.
Be nice to know who orchestrated it, Jason, whether it was from the St Kilda box or the Swans box.
Play on the call. O'Loughlin goes short. Baker.
He got away with a good nudge there, but he used his hips as he kept his eyes on the footy, and the umpire deemed that was fair enough.
Montagna to Jason Graham and getting it back, coming across the ground. Has a free man, Sam Fisher.
Gee, Ricks needs to turn around. He's coming from the ground and the ball's right behind him.
Fisher over the top for Hodgson. He can go short as well. Kazitsky.
And Fiora's worked into some space.
Del Santo drives it down in that direction. Now Fiora looks into the pocket and finds Stephen Milne.
They've got to be wary here because he takes off very quickly.
Does so, swings it around the body, and Stephen Milne kicks the first goal of the second term.
It amazes me that teams don't pick up on the individual habits of players. Stephen Milne, whenever he's in a very tight angle on a boundary side or in a pocket, he takes off almost immediately, and yet head down there on the mark from Bevan. He's looking back at his teammates. No one stands inside to stop him running around. You've got to organise yourself quicker, particularly with someone like Milne, who you know, as soon as he's ready, he'll take off.
Milne gets the goal. And the Saints have kicked the last 3 in the match. Sydney haven't kicked a goal since the 6-minute mark of the first term. Game high 14-point lead for St Kilda. Jolly up against Kazitsky. Harvey trying to hack it out of midair. Adam Goods clears the ball. A little too deep for Ryan O'Keefe. Working around the body. Good shot on goal here from Adam Schneider. And the Sydney Swans desperately needed that.
That's a pretty clever piece of play from Adam Schneider. He played at both ends in the first quarter. They've managed to move him back forward. Jaden Attard is the man that's picking him up. He was just a little bit too agile. Good pace off the mark and a great finish on his non-preferred foot. We know how clever he is on the left foot, but very, very competent on the right side as well. A much-needed goal for the Swans because at the moment, St Kilda travelling very, very nicely.
Well, Schneider's only been held goalless 3 times in 16 games this season. Very effective forward. There's Jolly. Wants to tap again. Brett Kirk had to go back and find it. Ran into some strong tackling, and we have a stalemate.
Yeah, they were desperate for that goal. It came against the flow of play. The Swans with Peter Bervikoff, they highlighted the contested possession, or the clearances, I should say. At the moment, it's the Swans 6 to St Kilda 15. Ross Lyon would consider that a major win at the moment.
Good wrestling Jason Blake to the ground. Matthews, clearing kick for the Swans. Under the chest, Barry Hall takes it for the second attempt.
The only problem, well, gee, Max Hudgston's being very kind. He could have moved another 2 or 3 metres up because the big bounce off the chest, I thought he marked it only a metre or so inside the 50-metre arc, but he's been given a very kind mark here, about 46 metres out from goal. I was going to say, after it bounced off his chest, the big bounce nearly took him outside his kicking range.
Well, we speak about the contested possession on the contest. It looked like the Saints had it out, but then Jolly flicked it nicely.
Second kick of the night for Barry Hall. And he's pushed it across the face, and it's a minor score.
Just his second kick, 2 kicks, 1 behind the return for Barry Hall at the moment. And Ross Lyon will be pretty happy with the job that Max Hudgston's doing.
Del Santo short to the pocket, and Lee Montagna.
Oh, hospital.
Forced into sticky situation. Del Santo back to Montagna.
Did well to get his hands free, Del Santo, and that's really set up some run now.
Lenny Hayes out wide to find Sam Gilbert. He has Revolt on the lead, but the pass was a poor one. Cleared both he and Ted Richards and trickles out of bounds.
In the end, Jared, it was a good opportunity to run the ball out of defence, but if they have to take those sort of risks to open it up all the time, they're going to be in trouble, the Saints.
I reckon that was close enough to a certainty for the top 10 hospital handballs for the year. I mean, if that had been anybody else other than the magical skills of Nick Del Santo, it's probably a conceded goal.
Kirk quickly onto the boot. Del Santo best positioned here. Tracking back with him, McVeigh. Harvey for Hudgston. Barry Hall after him. Got a piece of him and goes again and drags him down. Fiora has 2 to beat. He's taken down. Swans getting no reward for their efforts in this play phase. And it's holding the ball. They are going to get rewarded. Well, they worked very hard, and the free kick has gone to Tim Schmidt. Was looking for Jolly. Saints had numbers there. The mark taken by Montagna.
Speaking of working hard, that was sensational by Kazitsky. He was involved in the fracas that gave away the free kick. And he's actually pushed back hard, so hard in fact that he's ended up with a penalty.
Montagna, not a lot to kick to.
Nowhere to
He's
go.
running away from teammates at the moment. Jason Graham now will try and help him out under pressure. Jude Bolton did that brilliantly. Opens it up for Nick Fosdyke in Sydney. Get a good chance here as Fosdyke goes to work. The fans like it, and the Swans have kicked back-to-back goals.
Well, that's just the pressure of that man-on-man. I'm not sure, as we said, who made the call, but it's, I reckon, work for for the Swans. It's taken about 10 minutes for this pressure to build up, Jason, but we've seen now with the Saints trying to get the ball out of their back 50, a couple of near errors, and that one was a clear mistake that's cost them a goal.
Absolutely, we saw it almost come unstuck last time, and this time they were punished, so they need to work out a better way of identifying a loose man down back.
Well, Nick Fosdyke with just his 4th goal of the season and his first for a month. 2 in 4 minutes from Sydney, and has dragged them right back into the equation to 1-point ball game, 13.5 minutes played, term number 2. It's Luke Ball. It's after the loose ball and able to get back to his feet and scurry away.
Geez, that's good work for a bloke who's missed a lot of footy through and a lot of training, more importantly.
Not sure how many times Lee Fisher's played forward. He's playing half forward now. He's got Malcheski as an opponent.
Revolt the target again. With him, Richards gets a fist on it. Craig Bolton read it brilliantly, tracking back and now looks to clear.
But Malcheski is regarded as one of their great architects, so that's a negative job for Lee Fisher, and he's done it pretty well. He played on Sam Mitchell a few weeks ago, as you remember, Jason. He took him out of the game.
Strong mark from Buchanan. Shoveling it out, McVeigh.
On top temporarily, the Swans. Now it's time for the Saints to lock down.
They've got momentum, at least for the moment. Working hard was Luke Brennan, one of the late inclusions, with neither Leo Barry or Lewis Robert Thompson taking their places in the team.
Big Fraser a long way from home, not overly comfortable when the ball gets to ground level.
No,
Fraser. He took the ball plus the legs of the player and just wrapped everything up there to cause that stoppage.
Luke Ball taken to ground, and in comes umpire Shane McInerney.
Let's have a look at Fraser here. Once he's down, he said, "Oh, we just got to get a stoppage here. I've done enough."
Jolly works to the front position. Kazitsky provides a good contest. Jolly goes again. Quickly onto the boot, McVeigh.
She's hot.
Good tackle again there from Lenny Hayes, bringing Kirk down. When these teams last met, St Kilda came up with 55 tackles to 39. Now, red hot in that area. Luke Ball had 14 of those.
Baker's now gone on to Snyder. Snyder pulling him deep into the goal square.
Good body work from Kazitsky. Taken down again, Kazitsky. Hayes relieving the pressure. Momentarily at least. Luke Ball around the body finds Jason Blake. He heads in the Clark direction, and Xavier Clark takes it and plays on quickly. As Revolt charging out toward the 50. Ted Richards with him. Revolt comes again though, favoured by the bounce. Hands over now, Jaden Addard having his first kick just onto the ground, and Jaden Addard gets the goal.
Well, that came from nothing, almost against the run of play, that one for St Kilda. It was a 50-50 kick going forward. Big Michael Ricks just keeping the ball in front of him. It got a nice wrist on it, which put the ball into the hands of Nick Revolt, who was about to snap, looked up and then decided a hand pass would be a better option, and it certainly was. Jaden Addard pushing forward and kicking a goal. That's a win for St Kilda, that one, to get a goal out of Addard, who's playing in defence.
Only the second goal of the season for Jaden Addard off the rookie list. Kicked a goal against the Kangaroos back in round 11. Started on the bench tonight, to the margin back to 7 points. 17 minutes played, term number 2.
Sam Fisher's been a major possession winner all season. At the moment he's on Michael O'Loughlin in the goal square, and he's had 3 touches for the evening, which I reckon on average, Jason, would be about 70% under his average. Well, he's generally out across that half-back line. O'Loughlin has taken him, now that he's matched up on him, right to the goal square to get Fisher away from the play.
Everett coming over the back of Ricks. Taken down strongly, Eamon Buchanan.
The other one I've been really impressed with, Jared, is Sam Gilbert. He has kept Ryan O'Keefe to 2 kicks to the footy and 1 behind in almost a half of footy. And O'Keefe runs like a midfielder, often picks up 20-plus possessions. That's a great win for the Saints.
Gilbert's in great form, coming off a career-high 23 possessions last week. Rising star round 16, Everett, with strength and skill. Now he needs some help.
Good couple of possessions there from Spider.
Rushing out Davis, so too Barry Hall. O'Keefe with it now, taken down by Del Santo, who rode the bump well, wrapped him up in the tackle. And we'll have a bounce as we go down to Rowan Smith.
Yeah, just on Fraser Gehrig, I've been watching him the last couple of minutes. His right hand under the glove is heavily strapped. He's just been, the physios have been out to him a few times, so he's clearly not 100%, boys.
Here's a free kick to Spider Everett for a little bit of holding against Michael Ricks. And he's sucking in the big one, Spider. He was just involved in a couple of passages of play in the middle of the ground. This is an important kick. This, if he can put this through, I think Sydney would go into half-time, or if they can hold it just to a goal or 2 gap, they'd feel pretty relieved, because St Kilda's had most of the play in this second quarter, early on anyway.
He's been a goal kicker in 9 of his 18 games this season for the Sydney Swans, and he drives that one low, and he drives that one straight.
It's been a good 5 minutes for Sydney. I thought St Kilda were getting on top, but all of a sudden the last 5 or 7 minutes, Sydney have turned the tide, capitalised with a couple of goals. And Spider Everett, again, that's one of those that's a 50-50.
Well,
so many times they let those go.
As we said, he's always been a pretty accurate goal kicker, the Spider-Man. And a couple of taps, a couple of contested possessions, and a goal.
15 goals, 9 on the season for Spider Everett, 33-year-old, who is the oldest player out there for the Swans tonight. Approaching time on here in the second term. Good contest again for the ball. Matthews taken down by Luke Ball. The Saints started this term leading by 8 points. It's been cut to just 1 now. Bounce eluded everyone. Luke Ablett coming in strongly but wrapped up in the tackle.
Well, I think the decision to go man on man probably came out of the Swans box. They were getting chopped up in that first quarter. They had to change it around, and it certainly worked for them. They're not getting the ball quickly into the forward line of St Kilda. That's just a hard slog. They have to break a couple of lines to get it there. And here's another opportunity.
Luke Ball winning the free kick, goes to Lenny Hayes. Xavier Clark running past, wants to go beyond that. Revolt charges out, Richards with him. Good contest. Now Craig Bolton under pressure but gets his kick away. Leading the charge though, Sam Gilbert, and drives back into the 50, not 15, told to play on. Jones wrapped up in the tackle, comes again. No, giving away a free kick.
50, a little bit too slow giving the ball back. That could hurt them. A high tackle against Sam Gilbert on Eamon Buchanan, and then just too slow getting the ball back, Jones.
Well, he's already perfected the me umpire look as Sam Gilbert. He should.
Jolly, the target, couldn't take it cleanly. Brennan was looking for a free kick. Jason Graham just gets it away in time. McVeigh with a fist on.
Gee, an umpire's gone down after a collision with a runner, and that's going to cost a free kick. It was the St Kilda runner, so it'll be a Sydney free kick.
Taken by McVeigh. Has a loose man out wide, Jude Bolton.
Pretty solid contact too. I don't think the umpire took too kindly to it.
Bolton goes for the lead of Michael O'Loughlin, who grabs it. This is advance of Jaden Attar.
This is all about come about because of the pressure of Luke Brennan, who's now playing as a small forward, but effectively he's tagging Jason Graham, and he chased hard, got a hand on him. The kick went skew-if, and the Swans turned it around.
O'Loughlin kicked one goal last week in the big win against Melbourne. Just inside the 50, pushes it across the face of goal. It's a minus score. Scores are level here after 22 minutes of the second term.
Sort of arm wrestle we all expected. St Kilda would be disappointed to find the scores level, because I think they
had the chance
considered
to
that they'd set things up a bit. Yes.
This is the bloke they've got to get running off that hard. Oh, that is a big shepherd.
It's gone unwhistled. Maguire took out Schneider, and now Revolt leads the charge. Got a yard on Ted Richards and takes the mark.
Kazitsky deep.
So too Michael Ricks is running into the goal square. Kazitsky's kicked. Revolt's kicked into the man on the mark. It's Ted Richards, and the Swans will look to clear. O'Keefe deep in defence, trying to find Luke Brennan, and coming across. Good effort there from Sam Gilbert.
Just have a look at this shepherd there. No, there wasn't much in it. I think he was trying to milk at Schneider. The contact was actually just the hands pushed at the top of the shoulder, and he tried to milk one there, Adam Schneider. Good decision from the umpire.
Harvey, it's a quick kick out to Jones, under pressure from Ty Kennelly. Takes him to ground, and it's holding the ball, according to umpire Chris Donlan.
I sometimes think prior opportunity's gone out the window, Jerry.
Yeah, no such thing as prior. I mean, I'm not sure how he could have got that out, because he was sat upon by three, but...
Ben Matthews, as we tick inside the last 4 minutes of the first half. Barry Hall takes the mark, centre wing. Only 2 kicks so far in the match, brings it inboard, finds Spider Everett. And only Ted Richards is behind him on the ground, and we're almost at the halfway line. Very congested forward line for the Sydney Swans. Luke Ablett looking inboard as well.
And they'll back themselves to do this. They'll just keep chipping it around and then look for the little hit-up target, the little lead-up, which they're pretty good normally by foot skills, but they've had 4 or 5 kicks now, and they're in exactly the same position they were a couple of minutes ago.
Good's undecided. Now he's forced to take on Lenny Hayes, but has the speed to do it. Kick wasn't his best. Milne couldn't mark it though. Jude Bolton couldn't find it either. Fosdyke takes Milne down strongly, no whistle forthcoming. And they wrestle for it. And we need another bounce.
Well, it's amazing that play as we take another look at this hit.
No, just pushed him on the shoulders.
The Swans were in their most attacking, but also their most vulnerable, because a quick turnover there. If the intercept by the Saints had been affected by Steve Baker, it was one-on-one, Riewoldt in the forward half.
The thing that confirms that bump on Schneider was okay was that as soon as the free kick wasn't paid, Schneider got up and took off, jogging back to position.
Whistle off the ball again, and a free kick going to the Sydney Swans. Brett Kirk will be the recipient. 11 free kicks apiece now. Kirk handles off quickly. There's a hot potato for Adam Schneider. He's going nowhere. Clint Jones is there. Maguire. Swans have won it back. Luke Ablett over the top to Kirk. Taken high.
It's a comedy of errors, isn't it?
Well, they just started again, and Scott McLaren just calming down Brett Kirk. There you see him taking a little bit high and not happy about it.
Kirk has multiple leads. Looks for Barry Hall. Here's Ben Matthews, double teamed. Ryan O'Keefe gets it out to Barry Hall, shakes one. Maguire needs help. Luke Ball provides it. Out wide, looking for Sam Fisher.
That's a very warm moment between Maguire and Kirk,
wasn't it? Quite loving, quite affectionate. There's just some good tackling there from St Kilda, some good pressure. We saw a couple of weeks ago Sydney played Richmond, and Barry Hall got the ball at one stage and he shrugged off about 3 players because of his bulk and strength. But St Kilda's defence, they've got some pretty strong bodies down there as well, and he didn't get half a yard.
Well, the Swans have just chopped right down on the run out of defence from St Kilda. That's where they got a lot of their drive from. They won the contest. Well, the Swans have evened that stat up in this quarter. So Paul Roos will be pretty happy going to half-time soon.
Running onto the ball here, Clinton Jones unable to keep it alive.
But the strange thing is, Jared, we spoke about it in the lead up to the game. They've scored over 100 points the last 4 games, Sydney, and then switched straight back to shutdown mode in the low battles.
Because they're getting belted. So one style of play where they were freeing up wasn't working for them, and that's been the beauty of this Swan side under Paul Roos. They've got more than one game plan.
Kirk lost control. Del Santo around the corner. Jones shakes the tackle, pinned in the boundary line, brings it across. Riewoldt couldn't mark it. Craig Bolton is there. Will look to clear for Sydney. Has Kennelly running past. Good handball. Bevan. Now Kirk to Michael O'Loughlin. Undecided. 40 seconds left until half-time. Just hoists it towards centre-half forward. Barry Hall was running the other way, and Hodgson takes an uncontested mark.
And it actually broke down because of that extra handball. Kirk to O'Loughlin wasn't necessary. Barry Hall was steaming up the middle of the ground, and it actually chopped it down because they overpossessed.
Xavier Clark continues to run. It's on behind play. Baker and Spider Everett throwing some big punches. The 2 number 10s in a tangle.
Happy to take him on too, Steve Baker. He wants to have a crack at Spider.
Fisher, Sam, tried to bring it around the body, has only succeeded in kicking it out of bounds on the full. Dying stages of the second term. Swans will be happy just to play out time here. And here's the biffo between Everett and Baker. An entertaining conclusion to the second term. And we are tied at half-time after St Kilda held an 8-point lead at quarter-time. Swans hit back, kicked 3 of the last 4 goals, and we are tied away. Very tight contest.
Are outside players or defenders for Sydney Swans. Of course, Adam Goods, who we know has licence to run everywhere. Nick Del Santo, at least he picked up 5 of those 6 possessions in the second quarter when he moved back into the midfield. Maybe just starting to get a little bit more run as the second half's about to get underway. Luke Ablett is his opponent, and Ben Matthews next to Robert Harvey. Those 2 players you mentioned, incidentally, both starting next to each other on the wing. They'll look to have a big presence in the second half.
Nick Riewoldt also with 6 possessions. Ted Richards done a pretty good job there to date.
Underway in the second half from Telstra Stadium. And free kick is being found straight away. Will go to Adam Goods. And he waits for the movement.
They set
in
up
the
a
forward
bunch.
line.
Yeah, they set up a bunch deep, the Sydney forward line.
Barry Hall on the charge. A metre away from Hudson. Hands over to Ablett. Ben Matthews joins in as well. Hoists it long toward the goal square. Coming across. Good spoiling tactics there from Sam Gilbert.
And Ryan O'Keefe just looking around at Scott McLaren and pulling his jumper, asking the question, is there any chance of a free kick? But that's good defence there by both players.
Ricks and Jolly to do the ruck work once more. Ricks has held his own against two higher credentialed ruckmen. Milne, the quick kick, went high. Goods couldn't find it. Hustling and bustling his way out of there was Eamon Buchanan. O'Loughlin paddling in front of himself, tucked in onto the boundary line. Does the team thing, centres it to the top of the square hole. Nudged under it by Hudson. Now Lenny Hayes for the clearing kick. Here's Kennelly with Xavier Clark to contend with. Thought he was tackled when he didn't have it. Revolt pushed as he was about to kick the ball. And Ty Kennelly goes again and escorts the ball over the line.
Just shows what great fitness these guys have got. Ty Kennelly and Xavier Clark were in a dogfight only about 10 seconds ago, and then they're into it again, 40 metres up the ground.
Coming through Bevan. Got it again. Lenny Hayes wraps him up.
Has he plucked the free kick down?
Yep.
He has.
Now this is a test Luke ball distance-wise though, not a prodigious kick of the footy.
Would you unload with a torp, Jason?
I don't think he will. Not the percentage play. I'm surprised no one was running around the back for the hand pass though. Still looking around. There it is.
Handball off. Unloading now. Montagna from 55. It's going to fall short.
Oh, good spoil because Rewald had it, you're right, but the man coming from the side helped out Ted Richards there because he was done again.
Boundary line thrown as we get a look at the replay.
Geez, you saw a great shepherd there from Jason Blake blocking the run of Goods. Not sure it was legal, but he got away with it.
Revolt's got it again. Quickly tackled though. Baker trying to keep it alive. Gehrig involved as well, spinning out of trouble. Going too far though, and it's over the line for a minor score.
It's going to be a tough night for the forwards to get themselves up as well. It's not the sort of night you enjoy when there's numbers back, high balls coming into a very congested attacking 50, but they've just got to be prepared that when that split-second opportunity comes, they've got to make the most of it. It's going to tell the difference at the end of the night.
Jude Bolton tucked in the back pocket. Now told to play on. The switch is available, but he elects to keep it on the western side of Telstra Stadium. Ryan O'Keefe from the back. Couldn't take the mark. Goes again at ground level. So too Luke Ball.
I think one of the pluses of the season, Jason, has been the return to form of Justin Gazitsky. There was a lot of question marks about his long-term future with the collisions that he was enduring, but he is in great form now.
Play on the call. Del Santo runs to the 50. Got it straight off the boot. Has it got the carry? It has, and the Saints open up a 7-point lead.
Well, it was a double whammy, that one. It was a well-earned clearance. Swift handball from Montagna over to the killer. And he has sliced a goal straight through the middle, Nick Del Santo. Probably the first kick he's had inside 50 tonight. So one back on Mark McVeigh.
Eighth goal of the season for Nick Del Santo.
I'm glad St Kilda are in front, because if you said a couple of minutes into the second half that Hall's got no goals, O'Keefe no goals, O'Loughlin no goals, Davis no goals, and you weren't in front, you'd be pretty disappointed, wouldn't you?
You would be. Mark McVeigh got a couple on Del Santo in the first quarter, but McVeigh has got one back on, in fact, Luke Ablett, who's now got control of him.
Sam Gilbert calling the crisis. Goods, though, too strong.
Having a big game.
Terrific work. Coming up for his 15th disposal. Montagna with 21 leads that category in the game. Goods goes short. This is Adam Schneider. Barely the attacking side of the wing. Montagna with the spoil. Barry Hall coming across. So too McVeigh. Back to Barry Hall. Wrapped up by Hudson. Going to take it over the boundary. Barry Hall's holding the ball.
Well, he didn't try to get rid of it.
That's the key, Jared. Umpires now are getting hot on players that don't even make an attempt. Even if you're wrapped up, you've got to pretend that you're trying to do something. You can't just submit. He was resigned to the tackle, Hall, and that's what cost him the free kick.
He's after the boundary line. You see Montagna, who had a 20-odd possessions in the first half, now with McVeigh.
Good mark from Jude Bolton. Came up with 10 contested possessions, a game high when these sides last met. He's been busy again here tonight. So to O'Keefe out on the charge.
Just outside of his range, he'll look for a short.
Only 4 disposals so far. But Ryan O'Keefe.
I reckon if he had a serious crack, he'd go close. He doesn't.
Going into the pocket at the back, Kirk trying to get a sit. Coming through strongly there, Schneider. Lucky to have not given away a free kick.
Well, I reckon Captain Kirk had visions
Of a hanger.
Getting up into the stratosphere.
And the reality of it is it was never going to happen.
No. He would have needed Scotty to get him up that high.
Saints under pressure. Baker grabs it. Handball missed at target. Luke Ablett swings around the body. The mark has been taken by the Saints. Max Hudson.
It is the problem. There was no quick run from St Kilda, and the Swans have blocked it up very quickly. He's going to have to kick to a contest.
Good distance with the kick. Strong mark taken by Ricks. Hands off to Lenny Hayes. Has space to work into. Revolt on the charge. Goes in that direction. Couldn't handle the mark under pressure there from Malcheski. It's given away a free kick.
Well, he took the arms. That's a good decision because he knew he was beaten for height, Nick Malcheski. He just swung at the arms of Revolt.
Gehrig leading out. Just stopped and propped there momentarily, and that enabled Luke Brennan to come across.
Jared, I was just going to ask you a question. There's 2 contrasting forward lines at the moment. St Kilda have gone tall and Sydney have gone small. Which is the best way to go, do you reckon?
Tell you in about an hour and a quarter.
Lenny Hayes against multiple opposition. Jude Bolton trying to draw a free kick, and he's done enough to convince the umpire of it.
We've really only seen on the tall department one mark that's really exposed the Swans' height deficiency down there, and that was Nick Revolt.
Yep.
So it's a question of run. I mean, in every position on the ground now, it's just a matter of run. And there's very few times now where they expose Revolt to the long bomb.
Richards looking for the leader, Buchanan.
His target.
Graham there takes away possession for St Kilda. 1-on-1 in the goal square. Graham goes deep, tries his luck. He's come up with a minor score. Margin out to 8 points. As Fosdyke takes the mark on the defensive side of the wing.
Bolton pushing forward hard, trying to get a free man. Ball now covering off on him.
Fosdyke looking for Barry Hall in front of Hudson. Couldn't take the mark. St Kilda scramble to kick forward with a free kick.
Out in the full. Off the side of the boot.
Ryan O'Keefe will take it. Almost 9 minutes played in the third term. Here's Nick Davis for a rare touch.
It'll just be his second kick of the night, Case. He has really struggled to get into the game.
He's the sort of bloke, though, in this sort of game, Jason, he's likely to kick two goals in 5 minutes and be the most important player on the ground.
Good sport from Hudson again. Del Santo taking a high one there from Barry Hall. He's going to be pinged holding the ball against Del Santo.
Well, you can see teammates saying, what about the high hit? And there is an arm to the side of the head. It wasn't malicious. It wasn't overly tough a hit. I mean, it wasn't going to endanger him at all, but there was high contact. It started around the shoulders, but it did touch the head. Probably a little bit stiff not to get the free kick, Nick Del Santo.
Well, Luke Ablett with the ball. Kicked 1 goal last week in the win against Melbourne, but that was his only goal for 5 weeks. Right in front, and he's got the job done as well. It took almost 10 minutes with the Swans get there first at term number 3.
Well, good reply by Luke Ablett. 1 apiece to Ablett and Del Santo off the wing. I get a suspicion, Jason, that the umpire might have thought Del Santo fainted to some degree, tried to draw the free kick, and You can see it was a pretty fair hit, but not a lot of it in the head, and he gets up pretty cleanly. There he is now. Now, whether or not he had the opportunity to get the ball out under those circumstances, I think it's a question the umpire needs to make, and it's a tough ruling.
Luke Ablett, top 10 in the best and fairest last season. Played 24 of the 25 games. Gets his team back to within 2 points. And they're getting busy again here as Amon Buchanan taken down after the kick as well. That goes unwhistled. Barry Hall takes one high. Just bounces off Lenny Hayes. Goes for the banana. And Barry Hall has lifted a no. A minor score.
That is the first time the crowd left their seats tonight.
That is point of the year. No doubt about it. That was the most exciting piece of action we've seen tonight. It was sensational. Barry Hall looked like he had the front end loader out.
Sam Fisher with the ball, and in the centre of the ground, Kazitsky is blood all over him. Or in fact,
he's coming off in the hands of the trainers, and there is a lot of claret.
Might be Sam Fisher. There's so much blood there. No, it is Kazitsky.
Yep. Big loss. Not sure where he got hit.
Well, he is bleeding profusely, and you're only seeing a tiny bit of it there. The other side, there's the other side of the face. Look at that. Copped a severe knock.
Almost 12 minutes played, term number 3. We pause while the blood rule is finished with.
It's gone in at 45 degrees, that throwing.
Wasn't the best, despite Everett trying to farm it out, and a free kick going St Kilda's way. Nick Del Santo with it.
Revolt with a break here.
Richards closing, and went in with a second attempt, and a free kick going the way of Nick Revolt.
It wasn't the perfect kick from Nick Del Santo because he was 5 metres clear on the lead, Nick Revolt. But you could just see the pressure. This is, it started. I think he's got the boot of friendly fire from Lenny Hayes. Yeah. Just flicked him in the head, might have been the knee, and then the boot dragged across him. Just opened him up. Important kick for St Kilda, this one.
A goal in the first quarter, Nick Revolt. Comes in now. And as you could see from our camera angle, never had it online. It's a minor score.
Just get the feeling that they've probably wasted too many good opportunities, St Kilda, that will probably come back and haunt them at the end of the game, because Sydney are surging. They're starting to get a little bit more flow about their play going forward, and if St Kilda don't make the most of these opportunities, I'm sure Sydney will.
I think the most significant thing that'll be worrying Ross Lyon is that Barry Hall looks like he's set to explode. He's had a couple of touches in this quarter, playing a bit higher up the ground, and he's getting a bit further, a bit more space to run into than when he was playing deep.
Kick out of bounds on the full. Jason Blake to restart. Luke Ball, who played on, Osnowy O'Loughlin was there. Now drives the kick forward. Maguire up high. Swans effect to spoil though. Ryan O'Keefe bursting his way through the pack. Now Adam Goods joining in. This is better from the Sydney Swans. Terrific work coming across there from Lee Fisher as we go down to Rowan Smith.
Just an update on Justin Kazitsky's gone straight up the race, boys, with the doctors. So I'm tipping he's going to get some stitches in his head and he should be out soon.
Well, that's the last thing he needs. He missed 7 matches last year with that skull injury. If you're a third man up, came strongly. Kirk on the bottom of the pack once more. And umpire Chris Donlan calls for the ball.
Nick Del Santo, Smithy, he's looking to the bench. Is he trying to effect an interchange with Rob Harvey? I see he's up and ready to go.
Yeah, Harves has just said to him, just come off and have a bit of a blow, and yeah, so that's what he was trying to do there.
Luke Ablett drives Sydney forward inside their attacking 50. Plenty of pressure on Sam Gilbert from Ryan O'Keefe. Graham joins in. This is looking like holding the ball to me, and that's what the umpire has come up with.
Now, it's a bit unlucky here, Sam Gilbert, because the ball actually went out and then rolled back under him. We'll get a better look at it from this angle. There's the ball going clear. It got kicked back under him and dragged under by Ryan O'Keefe. Yeah. It was his arm that dragged it underneath.
O'Keefe squares the ball for Paul Bevan.
Everett on his own.
He's going wide, looking for Spider Everett. Good depth with the kick. Everett takes the mark. Wants to go short, though. Out on the lead, Michael O'Loughlin.
A tough kick, though. If they're going to kick them from there, well, you're too good. But St Kilda will be very happy if most of the set shots for goal for Sydney are coming from these sorts of angles.
Only a minor score to his name so far in the match, O'Loughlin. He's kicked only 1 goal in the previous 2 matches.
What did you aim at, Jason, when you were shooting in these sort of angles?
It's only after he's kicked it.
Well, he's 73% on the season, 30 goals, 11, and he produces the goods there to put Sydney back in front.
It is an outstanding kick. I don't think it changes when you're on an angle like that or when you're directly in front, Jared. My focus was always worried about the centre of the goals, making sure I was addressing the target, keeping everything in a straight line. It's a pretty simple approach from Michael O'Loughlin. He's just kicked through the footy and threaded the needle.
Michael O'Loughlin has now been a goal kicker in 16 out of 19 games this season. 31 for the year, second behind Barry Hall, who has 38 to lead the Sydney Swans. And they have retaken the lead, 2-1 since half-time. As the Saints scramble it forward in the direction of Clinton Jones. Kennelly there with him. Good skills from Maguire. Ball tumbles towards centre-half forward. Revolt lurking there. Luke Ball.
Had to be a free kick. The ball, he didn't have possession, he was gone.
But again, Milne in the pocket all on his own. If they can move it quickly, that's a dreadful kick. He got lucky.
Milne scoops it up on the half volley. Looks dangerous from this situation, and Milne hits back for the Saints.
Well, he goes and he thanks Xavier Clark for the pass, but very lucky that they got a goal because he was all on his own. All he needed was a kick with a little bit of height to get over the player that was trying to run back. I think it was Kennelly who slips, and that's the only reason the ball didn't get cut off. But a good finish from Stephen Milne, and they need a few of those.
It's a goal feast, Jason.
Well, Stevie Milne's sometimes maligned as a player, but he's been a multiple goal kicker in 11 out of 18 games this year as Kazitsky makes his way back to the bench. Seesawing affair from Telstra Stadium as we anticipated. Jason Blake drives the Saints forward once more, tumbles an attempted spiral punt. Ted Richards getting plenty of the ball, hooking it toward the goal line, and has scored it over there by Paul Bevan.
Good work from Jason Blake, just using the body to push goods off the ball and then stream forward. Unfortunately, from a St Kilda perspective, you'd probably rather one of the other midfielders actually in that position that might be able to use the football a little bit better.
Good to see Kazitsky back out there. Now Chesky finds Ted Richards.
You should like to be on the end of a Melchesky pass. He rarely misses a target, John.
Tremendous skills. The Swans work it up. It's the defensive side of centre wing. Paul Bevan involved again.
And Smithy Del Santo on, so Luke Ablett knows it's his turn to get out on the ground again.
Yeah, you should have seen it, Jared. Nick Del Santo ran straight onto the ground, and Luke Ablett was up like a flash off the bench and called Jared McVeigh off. O'Keefe
on the lead. Graham from behind can't prevent the All-Australian from last season grabbing the mark. Also won the Jim Steins medal for the best player for Australia in the International Rules Series. O'Keefe brings it inboard. This is Davis. Every St Kilda player is ahead of him, and in turn ahead of Craig Bolton.
This Davis, the chain, he's pushed up hard forward.
Lead coming out from Brennan, couldn't get near it. Opportunist here is Schneider. Ben Matthews involved as he taken high. That's the way the umpire's seen it, a free kick going to Ben Matthews.
And that was the umpire that was in the middle of the ground that paid that one. He had the better angle. Scott McLaren side on, couldn't see it. He was covered by a couple of players shielding the ball. Just the initial tackle there from Lee Fisher. The arm goes up over the shoulder. Good spot from the other umpire that was further up the ground. And if you see a decision, you've got to pay it.
Ben Matthews right in front, but he's only been on the goal kickers list once in the last 12 games.
Chris Donlan it was that paid that decision.
Looking to provide Sydney's third goal of this term. Ben Matthews pushed it, but has driven it through and gets the job done.
going to be a battle of inches all night, and that only scraped inside the left goalpost by a matter of inches. But importantly, they're getting goal-kicking contributions from players that perhaps aren't regular goal scorers. We've seen he's got hold of a goal, Luke Abbott's got hold of a goal, also Nick Fosdyke's got hold of a goal, a couple to Jared McVeigh. Normally it's O'Keefe, it's O'Loughlin, it's Barry Hall, it's Nick Davis, but they're finding other avenues.
Seesawing affair from Telstra Stadium. The lead has changed 3 times in the last 5 minutes as we enter time on, term number 3.
And it was Nick Davis who actually snuck up into that forward line. He was let go up there by Lee Fisher, and he was the one who created the extra play to get the ball back into the Swans forward line. Here he goes again, Nick Davis. He's going up to the back of this bounce down.
And Lee Fisher calls Jason Graham up into play to do that role, and he goes back onto Michael O'Loughlin.
Milne third man up, couldn't find it, spinning out of trouble. Buchanan taken high. Wants to play on.
Got to come back behind the mark first.
Shane McInerney, the umpire right on top of that.
He's had 2 goes at it, Eamon Buchanan, and unfortunately all that's done is allow St Kilda to get a host of players back.
Craig Bolton, no, in fact it's Paul Bevan who's made the run up from the back line, unloads from 70, good distance with the kick, Goods at the back. Couldn't mark it, O'Loughlin looms dangerously. No free kick, ball escorted over the line.
And boys, good news for St Kilda. Justin Kazitsky's back onto the ground, just taking a couple of headache tablets, been strapped up and he's back on.
It looks like he's going to stay full, which means Matty Maguire has gone back to his initial role in football as a ruckman.
Ben Matthews involved again off the ground. Goes Jaden Attard out into the open spaces. Milne leads the charge along with Buchanan.
Smart play.
Trying to work it to Adam Goods, is wrapped up in the tackle. Shane McInerney will call for the ball.
So Matty Maguire will come on screen now. He's chasing the big spider Everett in. He'll be undersized here as we take a look at the replay, and the tackle on Adam Goods. Nearly copped it high, but play on.
Attard involved again, going nowhere though. Stalemate with Jude Bolton on the bottom of the pack once more. Well, the biggest margin we've seen at any stage tonight was 14 points after St Kilda kicked the first goal of the second term. Sydney's biggest lead, 5 points. Del Santo going down, no free kick coming his way. Attard involved once more, but in best position getting back here, Tim Schmidt.
And Schmidt's got Bevan loose, and he'll probably end up going to him because Stevie Milne is pushed up the ground to be an extra man.
Ted Richards, former Essendon man, had 4 years with the Bombers. Baker edge to the front there against Schneider. Nearly bumped off it. Clint Jones involved.
He is good one-on-one, Stephen Baker.
And Jones now with the left foot.
Oh, big chance here. He's got away.
Revolt.
Richard slipped again.
Turns around, kicks to the goal square. Didn't do Fraser Gehrig any favours, but the G-Train equal to the challenge. Wrestled to the ground by Bolton.
Other way.
And a free kick going to Craig Bolton.
Yeah, you call it, Jerry. The kick from Nick Revolt was in no way to the advantage of Craig Bolton, who's now coming up for possession number 18. He leads the Swans.
Career high of 26 is in some danger. Had 18 last week as well, Bolton. Now Ted Richards on the half-back line brings it inboard for Ben Matthews.
It's just been difficult. We see players held up so much tonight, and you wonder why they're not playing on a lot more. But every time they look up, there's one-on-one contests everywhere, and you get forced to do this. You kick to a dangerous situation where if the kick's not perfect, it's either going to miss the target and go out of bounds like that, or it's going to be a turnover. Great work here from Craig Bolton. Then when it goes to ground, you get a look from a different angle. Fraser just pulls him to ground. See, there wasn't a hell of a lot in it. Might have liked that just to have been a play-on call.
Barry Hall's had a rest, Smithy. He's back on the ground, so too Max Hodgson.
Yeah, and Darren Jolly's just standing up too. So I think Sydney now are really trying to stretch St Kilda.
It's also been a lot of kicks to packs up forward, Jared, but at neither end do we have a genuine high flyer that's going to take the big pack mark. Revolt's tall, Gehrig's big, but neither of them flies over the top of packs. Nor does Hall, O'Loughlin, Davis, O'Keefe. They're not noted screamer takers, are they?
Probably Kosicki's the only one who's a big pack mark, and he spends most of his time wrestling in the ruck.
As he was there with Spider Everett. Ball comes out the back. Tim Schmidt knocks it forward once more. Saints look to clear. Well done there by Jason Blake. It's the handball off. El Santo likewise to Jaden Attard. The left footer drives it, looking for Revolt. Has two to beat. Sandwich between a couple of opponents. Jude Bolton joins in as well to Ted Richards. He can go to Nick Malcheski. Stops in traffic. Almost presented a problem. Back to Ted Richards, who goes out wide. Finds Fosdot.
It's one thing for St Kilda to get numbers behind the ball, but they've also got to run with the flight of the ball into the attacking 50. That last kick that came into Nick Revolt, he was 1 against 2, but there were also 2 or 3 Swans players at ground level to mop up, and no one coming for the Saints.
Free kick here against Stephen Baker.
Geez, the fatigue is really starting to hurt. Just watching a couple of St Kilda players try to cover off for each other. Stevie Baker did well there to get across to his man, and I noticed that Blake, he ran away from Goods, he ran to the bench, and he's done about 350 metres at pace in the last minute.
It's also one of the small grounds, Jared.
Yep.
Up to the half-forward line. Gilbert with the spoil. Kosicki to Attard, who's getting busy here in the third term. Fiora over the top for Jason Graham. No St Kilda player inside their attacking 50 at the moment. Now Montagna heads in that direction, and Revolt comes out to the wing.
Paddy Maguire is really working hard here.
90 seconds left, term number 3.
Have a go.
Maguire from 55. Xavier Clark at the back, takes the mark, plays on quickly and snaps the goal. Saints back in front.
So to me, Jason, I don't think the Saints are backing themselves in enough. They're playing the Swans game.
Yep.
They've fallen in for it. Their strengths are different to the Swans' strengths. And yet this, to me, is where the Saints go much better. And that is, when they get a mark, get it on quickly, back your teammates in, even if it is a one-on-one, back them in, kick it to them at their advantage if possible. But on that occasion, Xavier Clark played instinctively, found the right spot, and got a goal.
He kicked 1 goal, 1 last week, Xavier Clark. He's kicked 1 goal, 3 here tonight. And the lead change hands once more.
Beautifully weighted kick from Matt Maguire.
And let's find out if he's out of bounds.
He kept the ball in. The legs can be over. That's fine. It's the whole of the football that has to be over the line. And the goal umpire was perfectly placed to call it.
Not just a great kick from Maguire, but he has done a power of work in the last 4 minutes.
Jolly up to get the ruck work. Here's Luke Ablett driving Sydney out of the centre. Strong lead provided by Schneider. Baker right there with him. Blake got it off quickly. Saints look to relieve pressure, but they're going backwards under pressure themselves now.
Dangerous.
Buchanan has time to look up, looking for Jolly, who's taken them up.
He's an uncanny player, is Buchanan, king of Colo. He was been a star in their last couple of years in the success, the Swans. And he just is an instinctive footballer, Jason.
I think it was the hand pass from Luke Ball that might have put a teammate under pressure. But that is just great vision. And good work from Darren Jolly. You've got to push into attacking positions.
Darren Jolly kicked 23 goals in his first 6 years in the AFL. Now a chance for him to kick his 16th of this season, and he's dragged it poorly. It's a minor score.
There's rarely been more than a kick or two between these two sides tonight, and you just don't get the feeling it's going to be more than that right until the final siren, Jared.
Well, work rate's an enormous thing, and I think the question mark will be on St Kilda. They've faded in the last quarter. Have they learnt tactically, and have they got the energy in the bank?
Good distance with a kick out from Del Santo. Trickles over the line. 13 seconds to play here in the third term. St Kilda leading by 2 points after scores were level at the major break. Zitsky works to the front of the pack. Jolly appealing for a free kick. He's got the ball now. Goes by hand. Swans need a mark. Buchanan gets it out in the lead. And Nick Davis with a chance after the siren to put Sydney back in front.
He's tried to creep the mark here, Sam Gilbert, but he has been punished. And this is the one man you don't want with the football if you're a St Kilda supporter or player, because he is probably the best kick in the Sydney side. and distance will not trouble him from
there. Buchanan is an uncanny player. He's bobbed up with 2 important possessions and given them a couple of shots a goal.
Nick Davis from 55. No problems with the distance. No trouble with the accuracy either. And on the three-quarter time siren, Nick Davis gives the Swans the lead.
Never going to miss it, Nick Davis. That's his game. He just bobs up at the right time. He bobbed up when it counted most, got them into a grand final, from memory way back, Jason.
With about 3 kicks.
That's right.
Quarter and stamp his mark on the game. We've had a lot of cameo appearances from mid-utility type players, if you like, but a Barry Hall or a Michael O'Loughlin or a Fraser Gehrig. I know he kicked 2 in the first quarter, but he hasn't touched it for the next 2 quarters. Or a Nick Riewoldt. Someone's got to bob up. One of the forwards has to take charge, find some space and find some marks and then kick truly.
I think that goes hand in hand though, and it's really up to St Kilda, I think, just to start flowing more freely, start taking a few more risks, move the ball more quickly than they have done. They're now playing St Kilda's game. In the first quarter they played their own game, and to give Nick Riewoldt and the G-Train a chance, they've got to get it in.
Well, St Kilda trail by 4. They've come back from a three-quarter time deficit only once in the last 2 years, so the job ahead of them. What has been a seesawing affair from Telstra Stadium. O'Keefe couldn't find it, and the Saints will try and bring it out. Taken down as he has the kick, Luke Ball, and it's over the boundary line.
Just 9 possessions for Rob Harvey. He's one that you just bank 25 possessions each and every week, so Ben Matthews has done a pretty good job there.
Averages 22 per game, 3rd for St Kilda. Another whistle provided here by umpire Scott McLaren, and a free kick going to the Sydney Swans. 21 free kicks to 19, Sydney. And they've only been on the right end of the free kick count 4 times this year. Woods kick off the money, Del Santo with the support of Baker, who now looks for Milne. Good defensive work there from Paul Bevan. He was caught out of position early, was able to defuse the situation momentarily.
He's shown very good mobility and agility, Paul Bevan, to match it with Stephen Milne.
Played only 9 games last year. Developing player with the Sydney Swans.
Good stuff from Hayes, but he's released a Swan. Bolton.
Goods in traffic, goes underground. Barry Hall leads the charge. Comes out strongly. Hudson right with him. Hall got to be gone. Holding the ball.
You can't take them on like that and expect to get away with it unless you get a clean disposal pretty quickly.
He has been watching too much rugby league, Barry Hall. Have a look at this. This is just a front row.
He got ahead of steam up, didn't he? Have this. And I reckon he enjoyed the fact that he saw someone the size of Del Santo there and thought, I might just run over the top of this bloke. But Maxie Husson was right up his ginger.
Graham took it from Baker, has Riewoldt on the lead. Richards strongly with him. Cleaned up by Malcheski with the support there of Ben Matthews, who worked that intelligently, but a bad bounce of Luke Schneider. Baker doing a great job here at the start of the 4th and coming hard again, but the ball is out of bounds.
What about Nick Riewoldt? Jason, I reckon that Ted Richards done a pretty good job. He's bodied him a lot, and I reckon he's inside his headspace at the present time. Maybe a change of position for him.
Well, I think the other thing is Nick Riewoldt tried to stay at home and play inside the attacking 50, be a goal-scoring threat. He hasn't been able to use his tank to actually drag Richards out of his comfort zone and really push him up and down the ground, run out, come in with the flight of the ball and really test him aerobically.
And Riewoldt's been a multiple goal kicker in his last 4 games, and tonight 1 goal, 1 so far. And that one came at the 26-minute mark of the first term.
Seen Rob Harvey play brilliantly out of the goal square. He also could take his opponent in Taikanelli deep and play as a full forward and maybe even push it Riewoldt up onto a wing.
We've lost the ball here for the moment. It's in the moat between the QBE sign and the fans weren't too interested in getting it for Lee Montagna.
No, they've got it now.
Be well insured.
Just as the emergency umpire was halfway across the field with another one. It's always the way.
3.5 minutes played in the final term. No addition to the three-quarter time score. Montagna for distance. Everett in best position. Couldn't hold on to the mark though under pressure. Now Ablett taken down strongly by Del Santo and Luke Ball in tandem, and will have a bounce.
Well, you saw there the futility almost of kicking it long when there's so many players back. Spider Everett just came in, sandwiched Rewald, took away his front space, and Richards had the back covered.
Free kick going the way of the Saints.
He came as the third man up, Jason Blake, and he really came across the top of the pack, got a decent old shove, I think.
Clark took them on, breaks one tackle, sold his teammate Lee Fisher into trouble though, and Goods will look to clear for Sydney. Buchanan.
Maybe the moment, that moment there.
There's no one inside the attacking 50 of the Swans at the moment. They're going to have to run it up there. Goods with speed. Eludes Robert Harvey. Handball over the top for O'Keefe. Joining in now, Ty Kennelly. Goes goalward. That wasn't what they needed. It's out of bounds on the full.
And McVeigh was all on his own in the pocket as well. It was a great chase from Robert Harvey, but he just couldn't get the lunging tackle onto Adam Goods. Goods, a little bit more youth in the legs, broke clear. Nearly a very costly turnover from St Kilda when they had an opportunity at the other end. Xavier Clark just tried to do a little bit too much, but they can't bag him for taking risks, I guess.
Maguire took a long time to get rid of it off the side of the boot. Kazitsky there. Xavier Clark couldn't handle it.
See some shocking signs for the Saints at the moment. The Swans are just all over them.
Buchanan for Brett Kirk. He's looking for the open man and going back to take the mark. Smith.
Paid it.
And he's paid the mark, umpire Chris Donlan.
He doesn't look well out there, Xavier Clark. He's been holding the hip, he's holding the back, he's holding the neck. There's a little fumble there, but cost another turnover. He just looks a little bit uncomfortable. Clean mark before the spoil got there.
Smith's been effective in front of goal this season. 10 goal for a late inclusion. Leo Barry and Lewis Roberts-Thompson both pulling out prior to the match, and he makes no mistake as Sydney extend their lead.
Well, it's a big moment when Xavier Clark tried to go around too many players. Had to be less cute in those circumstances. Went down the other end of the ground, and the Swans have prevailed. And Jason, given the scoreboard and the way this game is going, 10 points is almost a match-winning lead.
Well, if Sydney kicked the next one, you would think it would be just about all over for St Kilda, because there hasn't been any sign of a flurry of goals coming either way.
A goal to Tim Smith, who took 2.5 years to make his debut here with the Swans. And he's played 13 games this season and kicked 11 goals, and Sydney have their biggest lead of the match.
Crunch time for the Saints. They've got to get the next one.
Jolly up against Kazitsky.
And this could be the quarter that decides their season. A loss tonight, and very, very tough for them.
Xavier Clark is a loose man, playing as a high half forward. In fact, he's playing as an extra defender, which has left Bevan covering the front half of Rewald.
Ball got it from Montagna, has Lenny Hayes. He takes the mark. That's almost 50 metres against Brett Kirk.
Well, Brett Kirk's got an argument because there was a man running past for the handball and he thought he was going to give it, so he had to put some pressure on. And Lenny Hayes very cleverly just held on to it, milked it for the 50. Look here as they break away. This will be a very good angle of it too, because he's got the player running on in front of him. You can see Hayes almost goes to him.
He came in after the mark.
Yep. And you can see Kirk's pointing. He was going to play on and give it to the other bloke.
Well, there's no sure thing, Lenny Hayes. 3 goals, 8 this season, and 1 goal in the last month from this range. Shouldn't miss, and doesn't.
Well, that's what we wanted to see. It deserves to go right down to the wire, this contest, doesn't it? It was interesting setup now for St Kilda up forward. Fraser Garrick's come off for a spell. They're going with a 2-man forward line, Nick Revolt and also Stephen Milne. They've got a loose man behind the play. It means that it's 2 against 3 in defence. There's a loose one there for the Swans, which is Craig Bolton. So it's going to make scoring difficult, but it has opened things up.
Let's go to Rowan Smith. Let's get down to Rowan Smith.
Yeah, just Fraser Garrick just came straight off the ground before, boys. Just sat down, didn't do a warm down or anything. Doctors or physio didn't talk to him at all. So just sitting down having a rest.
Why don't you go and have a chat to him, Smithy? He looks in the mood for a chat.
Yeah, I think he'd rip my head off, Jason.
Well, I think it's part and parcel about just getting more run on the ground. They're taking the G train off and getting every runner they can there because it was critical.
Baker has been good so far. Hudson will be happy to concede a rush behind.
Jason Graham wanted to play on quickly and ran into the goal umpire. There's been plenty of contact with umpires and not just the field umpires.
What a shepherd.
Saw a goal umpire last week cop Stephen King over the top.
This is another bloke they've got to get running off the half-backs of Saints if they're to win.
Sam Fisher hits the Saints forward. Harvey half-volleyed it. Good skills from the Swans at close quarters.
And poor skills from the Saints. Their clanger kicks count would be just way too high for Ross Lyon.
Ball in dispute again on the narrow wing. O'Keefe wheeling and dealing out of trouble, getting good distance with the kick as well. Graham out to greet it. Maguire in support. Barry Hall getting angry again.
He'll go here.
Looking for a free kick. Play on is the call.
He was about to get pinged, but he saw the ball come out.
Well, the umpire not in best position there, and he's decided now that he'll take it.
St Kilda need to be careful with Xavier Clark. He's made a couple of errors now, and he just needed to put a stronger tackle on the player coming through, Luke Abbott. There's Jason Graham just getting tripped up by the goal umpire.
Snyder unable to wriggle free.
But the difference between allowing Ryan O'Keefe, I think it was, that broke through the tackle, stopping a player and letting him go, it could be that simple that decides this game tonight.
And the runner's just charged out to Justin Kazitsky and said, stop going back into the loose man, get into this rucks, we need you at the contest.
Montagna underneath the ball once more. 24 disposals for Montagna to lead St Kilda. Adam Goods with 20, the most for Sydney.
Got to have a dominant player at these stoppages now, Jason, just to at least neutralise, if not get an advantage.
Saints look to clear. Dalcento for Revolt. Awkward bouncing ball. O'Keefe.
Great tackle.
Tremendous tackle from Sam Gilbert holding the ball.
Jeez, he's got some pace, this kid.
Yep, it's just got to kick it to space.
Milne looking to run onto it. Coming back, Bolton with the flight of the ball takes an important mark.
Jeez, he's read it well, Bolton. He's pushed up hard on Rewald. He's got back. He's one of the Swans' best at the moment.
Has Matthews available, and further on Schneider. In space, Schneider looks for the lead of McVeigh and took that well. Inboard going short.
Xavier Clark's now gone on to Tim Schmidt. They're trying to free up Jason Graham as the loose man for St Kilda, and that would make a lot more sense.
Well, Bolton's the one clear for the Swans. He's now been picked up by Rewald, which has left Ted Richards.
He brings it out to the wing, Ben Matthews. Back inboard, Macheski. Every player now is in the Swans attacking half of the ground. O'Keefe sandwiched between two opponents. O'Loughlin looming at the back. Kazitsky to Graham. Calling a crisis. Off to Robert Harvey. Held it for a long time. Graham kept running. Didn't get a very good bounce. Schmidt. Fosdyke. Looking to go long. O'Keefe was the target, but there to take the mark, Kazitsky.
They got lucky there. Skills at critical times have let the Saints down. Oh, here's Xavier Clark running himself into trouble again.
Poor disposal. Ablett almost picked it off. Now some work to do for Jason Blake. Del Santo got it off just in time. Hudgton comes across again for Sam Gilbert. He looks to go short. Hayes will get the free kick. Aaron Jolly needed to disguise that a little better.
Xavier Clark continues to play behind the footy. He just doesn't look like he's got the fitness to go back and forward.
Baker.
Once again, their skills off the half-back line into that forward line will cost them the match.
Yep.
If they don't get back in front.
O'Keefe got it from Davis, now Barry Hall. Now leading the charge, Schneider. Goal side of Gilbert. But Barry Hall is looking instead for McVeigh, who did that well.
That was brilliant play by the Swans. Once again, Jason, it was just a great example of the difference in the field kicking. Look at this, absolutely spot on to his advantage.
And what he did was he had a couple of options running forward, but he kicked to the advantage of McVeigh because Montagna had his back to the footy when the kick actually left the boot of Barry Hall. He had to readjust in mid-air and it was just too difficult.
Jared McVeigh kicked 2 goals in the first 6 minutes of the match. He's never kicked 3 in a game before in his career, but he has now.
Well, 2-goal difference in favour of the Swans again. If St Kilda don't kick the next one, that will be it. So we'll be able to find out very shortly if they can respond. They still look to have a reasonable amount of run in the legs at different stages, although a couple of players, we mentioned Xavier Clark looking a little bit tired. We'd certainly like to see Graham loose rather than Xavier Clark.
Jared McVeigh, an unlikely hero here in terms of goal kicking. Harry Hall goalless, Ryan O'Keefe goalless. Jared McVeigh with 3 has given Sydney their biggest lead of the game. 14 and a half minutes played in the final term.
Well, the Swans are happy with this. They've now put Tyconelli onto number 3 for the Saints.
Xavier Clark.
Because they don't think he can defend.
Goods. The attacking ball, and they go straight to that contest. And Tyconelli brings it down from County Kerry.
And on the basis of what we've seen, there's plenty of evidence to suggest they're right.
He's a very sage man, Jared Healy, isn't he? Never wrong.
That's why they pay him the big bucks, Jason. Nick Davis joins in now. Kicked 3 of the last 4 goals. Sydney bracketed across three-quarter time. Barry Hall trying to milk a free kick. Jason Graham cleans up for Justin Kazitsky.
They've got to run it by hand because there's no one to kick to.
Milne, the only man deep in the 50, and he's got goal side of 2 opponents. Good leg work from Milne, but it's going to come to naught as Bolton comes back again.
Yeah, Stephen Milne rightly frustrated. The kick's better off hitting the deck than sitting up in the air, allowing Craig Bolton to come back and take the mark. The kick was intended to be out in front of Milne, but it just didn't have the carry on it. It's an interesting tactic, Jared. You're behind, you need to score goals, and you're prepared to play the loose man and initiate one short in your forward line.
Yeah.
Goods with it.
I think they just had to try to get back to what their game was early in the piece. As soon as the Swans went man on man, they have just worked their way back into this match, and it looks as if they're only a kick away from winning it.
What a mark from Nick Malcheski.
This could be it. A beautiful kick of the footy too. Nick Malcheski hasn't had as much of it as he would normally like. 14 touches for Malcheski. But good use of the body against the bigger opponent, Sam Fisher. Just holding front position.
It's actually a better return than you'd expect. That may have been a bump ball, but nevertheless, he's now being tagged. That's how well he is being thought of in the competition.
He's kicked 9 goals for this season. So he's been effective in front of goal. This is a tight angle and just a little beyond him.
Even another point now would be very handy for the Swans. If they could get 13 plus points in front, I think they'd feel pretty comfortable. And they are very good at running time down and closing things down. Now we see Kazitsky pushing into the forward line.
And they've, I think they've had enough of Xavier Clark as a defender.
He's gone back forward.
Get him out of there.
But then, look, they had to try something. Yeah. They had to change the flow of play and the pattern.
This is what they've got to do now. They've got the loose man. They just have to run the Saints. Got to develop, create, back themselves.
That's downfield against Barry Hall. That was needless. He forced Montagna to kick long to a contest, but just figured he'd made the effort to catch him, so he may as well push him over.
25 disposal for Montagna. Most by a player tonight.
Got to go. Got to go. Scott Gilbert now.
Graham over the top. Sam Gilbert works to 55. Unloads. Gave it a good ride. They'll contest on the goal line. And it's a minor score. Hit the post.
Well, unfortunate for the Saints. That is exactly what they needed. One from nowhere, running off that half-back line. Just a bit of woodwork in the way.
Second time the Saints have hit the post tonight.
Oh, look at Brennan further afield, all on his own.
Peter Everett, and he find him. Did that well. Ryan O'Keefe, Nick Davis, the only 2 Sydney Swans inside the attacking 50 at the moment. O'Keefe on the move. The back, Maguire. Fosdyke joining in. Kirk getting involved. O'Keefe finds it again, but Maguire wraps him up in a strong tackle, and the Saints will clear. Not done with just yet. Xavier Clark, undecided.
Spider's just really playing the percentages at the moment. Xavier Clark looked up, wanted to play on, but there was the man, the big man, Spider.
Clark across the ground, looking for Fiora. Good contest there from Schneider. Good Saints with numbers.
In the back, he's paid in the back, and that's come from a poor kick from Xavier Clark. We're probably appearing to be a little bit hard on him, but a couple of decision-making errors from him. have just made life very difficult for a couple of his teammates, particularly in this fourth quarter when the heat's been on.
Goods on the charge and reaches out strongly to take the mark. Excellent running from the Brownlow medalist.
I think what's become obvious on Xavier is that he hasn't had a decent crack at it by way of pre-seasons. He's nowhere near rock-hard fit that he needs to be able to cope with the pressure of this over 4 quarters.
Kicked a goal against the Saints back in round 7. Has 8 for the year, and they've all been individual goals. Kicked into the man on the mark. Trickles out of bounds. 6.5 minutes to play. The Saints need 2 goals.
And the worry is where they're going to come from. Fraser Gehrig back on the ground for one last roll of the dice. Kazitsky, Revolt and Gehrig forward for the Saints.
Good work from Everett to Malcheski. Loose ball, Ben Matthews takes them on. Gilbert supplies another strong tackle. Graham tried to work it to Montagna. They're retreating and going back in another minor score.
Sets it up for a draw now. 2 quick straight kicks. But 1 more point you'd think would be enough for Sydney. I think a little bit of the run has disappeared and the ability to take risks, Jared.
He's a lot, this kid, though.
Yeah,
he is the one
he?
that's having a crack from defence, but he's got to have targets to kick to, and they weren't there.
Peter Everett in the centre of the ground. He's looking toward Goods. He was covered, so he's going back the other way where the Swans have got multiple numbers out wide. This is Nick Fosdyke.
Well, all of a sudden they've gone away from the man-on-man St.Kilda, and Sydney will just chew up the last 5 minutes doing this. They can hit targets all day. You can't just sit back with numbers behind the ball expecting them to kick it long to an outnumbered contest. That's not going to happen. Sydney is smarter than that.
And I reckon if you had to pinpoint a difference between the 2 sides, and there's been very little, it has been the accuracy of the kicking under pressure.
They'll do this, you know, non-stop for 3 or 4 minutes.
Buchanan.
We go straight back to Brennan.
Here comes Rob Harvey. Now we've got man-on-man everywhere.
Took a while, didn't it?
Little over 5 minutes left in the contest. Swans lead it by 2 straight kicks. Hudged in over the back of Nick Davis, who controlled it well and nimble on the boundary line to keep it alive. Here's Malcheski.
And in doing that, the Swans just whittled away about 75 seconds.
Yep. Poor kick, which is unlike Malcheski, to Kennelly. Back to Nick Davis. He's pinpointing Bolton.
Courage.
And he's down as well. Montagna looks as though he's out. And a free kick to the Swans. Malcheski will work just inside 50. He likes it. Game over for Sydney.
Magnificent kick by Nick Malcheski, and a sensational win by the Swans, who have just worked and worked and worked their way back into this match. And you see there that Addard was a courageous performance by him, and he has been KO'd.
Yep. The eyes were bouncing around in the sockets. Been a very steep learning curve for Xavier Clark in this final quarter. Another error from him, which cost them the goal. But look, he's battled hard, Xavier. He's worked very hard. He's played a couple of different roles tonight. He needs to learn from this, though, because he has just made a couple of critical errors. Jaden Addard off the ground after putting his body on the line. That was a tremendous effort by him.
Fiora under a strong tackle. Al Santo. Good supplies a spoil over the back of Jason Blake.
It's been a great battle, in fact. Kirk and Hayes in this one.
Jones got it all wrong. It's out of bounds on the fall. Less than 4 minutes to play, and Sydney with the biggest lead of the match so far as we go back to Jaden Addard.
Just a lunging dive, and he's copped the full brunt. Look at the eyes weren't in focus then initially. He put his body on the line. Fantastic. You can't ask for any more than that. He'll have a bounce, turn around and kick it backwards.
Kennelly looks to go short to Jolly in the contest. Nice spoil. No, in fact, a free kick has been awarded against Sam Fisher. Jolly does retreat all the way back to Buchanan. And Craig Bolton on the end of that.
Well, it's a disappointing finish in many respects, Jason, because this has just been such a hard-fought win.
Yep. They can still make it theoretically. 3 games left. They can finish on 12.5 wins at the Saints. But on tonight's form, just when it got really, really hot out there, they couldn't manufacture the execution that they needed or the right opportunities they couldn't create. So you'd have to say it's going to be very difficult for them now to win those last 3 games.
Fremantle, West Coast and Richmond coming up for the Saints.
Well, I'd like to pencil in Richmond, but given other results this weekend, I'm not going to pencil in anything, Case.
The Swans, well, they journey to Brisbane, then Collingwood and host Hawthorn in round 22. That got you excited or nervous?
Nervous, yes.
He was very tough to sit next to on the plane coming up from Melbourne today. Jonathan Brown cutting a muck early in the second quarter. Found out a bit about a few Hawthorn defenders on the plane, but they fought back well, Jason. Would have been proud of the victory.
There was a fantastic performance, particularly against a side that would really, really struggle to have any joy against the last 10 or 11 times we played them. I think we've only beaten them once. But now there's a lot of teams in the competition that are going to be very worried about the Sydney Swans. They've got a massive percentage and they look like they're going to surge towards the top 4, and won't they be the team that no one wants to draw come finals time?
Spot on about that, particularly if they get that top 4 spot, they get home finals. The Swans are the best side, I reckon, I've ever seen at getting you to play the way they want you to play.
Yes. Or Sam Gilbert holding his leg here, he's in trouble, and that'd be a shame if he's injured because he's been probably the Saints' best. He's holding his leg, he's in a lot of trouble. Gee, I hope it's not broken. Oh no.
It's like
just see him
press
here.
kneecap.
Just lands flush on it, and he holds it straight away.
Well, that often is a posterior cruciate ligament, so hopefully that's not the outcome, because he's been a sensational player for them this season.
Maguire drives long, looking for Gehrig. Bolton at the back. Loose ball, Montagna throws it onto the boot quickly. Jolly came out, diffused it momentarily. Gehrig taken down in the tackle, and the Swans concede.
How good is Craig Bolton? Wouldn't you love to have him on your list if you're a coach? He just does the job week in, week out. He can play tall, he can play small, he can run like a midfielder, he can battle with the monsters.
He's just had a great career after not being able to cement a spot in that all-conquering Brisbane side. He's come to the all-conquering Swan side and been one of the reasons they achieved that mantle.
I dare say the Lions wouldn't mind him in their defence right now.
Yeah, they'd be happy now.
He's in the All-Australian team from last season.
He might be in it again this season, Case.
And the evidence tonight...
Depends how certain people see things this year, Jared.
She's tough going at the back half, isn't it?
Ball over the line. Just on a minute to play here in Sydney.
If you had a mercy rule, you would have blown it 2 minutes ago, because this game doesn't deserve to peter out like this. It's been hard fought, right the word go, and right now everyone in the stadium, including the players, know the result.
Lenny Hayes with a quick kick out of the congestion. Ball out of bounds once more. Well, they've done it again. Sydney scores were level at half-time. 7 goals to 4 after the major break. And so for the 16th time in 19 games, they prevail in the second half. They just wore the Saints down. Jolly with 2 to contend with. Baker hasn't stopped trying all night. Free kick going to Sydney.
Eamon Buchanan, Jason, 23 possessions. He has an impact on games. He goes that I think is rarely understood.
Been a little bit up and down this year, and he spent...
Had some injury problems.
Yeah, he has, and spent a week or 2 out of the side.
He did, yep.
But he came back last week with 31, his career best. I think he might have kicked a couple of goals as well. And it's just, Schneider went through the same thing. All of a sudden, a couple of players just appreciating this is a good team, and I've got to carry my load if I'm going to be a part of it. And that's going to be a great sign for the Sydney Swans if they can rejuvenate some of those players to find another yard as we approach September.
Final siren at Telstra Stadium, and the Sydney Swans have prevailed here by 17 points after scores had been level at half-time. And Sydney now have won 5 of their last 6 and are moving into ominous form.